Hi, my name is Mark Sisson with Michigan Biochar. Today is March 19th, 2011. It's been a cold winter here in Michigan. We still have snow on the ground. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start experimenting with our biochar planting season. So what I'm going to do is start us off growing tomatoes. So in this envelope I have some Burpee's organic tomatoes. They're Roma tomatoes. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and experiment with the biochar that we make. Actually, I have some right here. This is some biochar we just made from our double barrel system just a couple weeks ago. You can see we have some large chunks of biochar that we produced, and we're going to inoculate some of this potting soil with this biochar, and we'll start to see probably in about 2 to 3 weeks if this really makes much difference this early in the growing season. So what I'll have to do in a few moments, I'll have to crush this up and we'll see how it works out. So this is how we're going to pull all this together. First of all, we have 3 different types of potting soil down here. The first one is Miracle-Gro moisture control potting soil. Obviously it's not organic. This has a mixture of slow release nutrients coming through the fertilizer that's in this Miracle-Gro potting soil. Scott's potting soil, they just have their own version of the same thing. And then last of all, Miracle-Gro has what's called the Organic Choice potting mix. This potting mix, it's got some slow release natural fertilizers in it. I really don't know what that means, but we'll give it a try just to say we tried the commercialized organic side of this. And then last of all, compliments of Baker's Green Acres in Marion, Michigan, we have some fresh compost, and what we're going to do is try some seeds in this with and without biochar, just the same as what we're doing with these others. So what we're going to do is get started, and I'm going to go ahead and crush up the biochar, get this down to a meaningful size for us so that we can fit it within these little planters, and then we'll get these all divided up so that we'll have on each of these 1 full row of Miracle-Gro potting soil. The second row will have the Scott's Premium. Third one will have the Miracle-Gro Organic Choice, and the fourth row will have seeds of our tomatoes in Baker's Green Acres compost. We're going to duplicate that process with this secondary tray using biochar in the mix. Now we're not going to be too concerned about what the mixture is, whether it's 50-50 compost or potting soil with biochar, or if it's 80-20 or whatever. What we want to do is start right out the gates to say, if I'm going to start planters going with this, whether it's flowers, fruits, vegetables, whatever it may be, let's see what the benefits that biochar may give to this potting soil or compost, and see if it makes any difference at this stage. As we well know, it's been very well proven that later, whether it's in a greenhouse or if it's out in your garden, biochar with the right mixture creates a society of organisms that actually has many different benefits, from increased yield to better vigor and growth in the plants, as well as many other benefits that makes biochar uniquely different from fertilizing or from using these chemically inoculated potting soils. So ultimately that's going to be our test. We're going to take it from here. We're going to go ahead and move this out in the greenhouse in about 3 weeks, and we'll watch the growth of these plants as we're going along, and we will see from this point through the greenhouse phase right up to the point when we plant it out here in the garden. We're going to see exactly how well that our tomato plants will grow by using an infusion of biochar versus using other alternative methods such as composting and other methods. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and this is something, by the way, if you want to do experiments like this, make sure mom's not at home. This can get you in a lot of trouble. Grinding biochar over the top of a white or a tanned carpet can put you in the doghouse, so buyer beware. So what I'm going to do with this freshly made biochar, I'm just going to, rather than worrying about grinding this up, I'm just going to go ahead and just crush it up with my hands. It's really not that important if you grind it up or if it's in just larger chunks. The main features of biochar is the fact that it has all of those micro pores that allows all of the compost and the protozoa and the nematodes and all these different creatures to create their own little society and to expand on it inside of these little micropores, or I call them housing for the living beings and the beneficial nutrients and microbes and stuff like that. And I'm already dropping biochar on the carpeting. So what I'm going to do, just going to go ahead and just grind this up. Warning, do not do this at home on your own without supervision of parents. This biochar was made from feedstock that varied in size from thin pieces of wood to very small, thin, wafer-like pieces of wood. It just grinds up quite easily in your hand. This is plenty good enough for what we're looking to accomplish right here. Then you have the larger pieces right here. When you get a really good charge like this, we've got biochar that has gone through all the different stages. None of this is torrid. This is truly 100% pure biochar, and we can take thick pieces of wood and you can grind it down until you're down to a fine powder like that. So that's all we need to do, and what I'm going to do is continue to grind this up, which will take me a few minutes, and then we'll continue on showing the benefits and how we actually pull all this together to complete the potting process for these Roma tomatoes. It's Mark Sisson with Michigan Biochar. Now we're pretty much ready to move forward. What I did, potting our tomatoes, I went ahead and I ground up the biochar by hand. You can see some of this, you can grind it up pretty fine. I obviously had to grind it up very fine so that I could get it into the mixtures. So what I'm going to do now, as I had mentioned earlier in the first segment, we're looking at these different experiments without and with biochar. Then we'll watch to see how these tomato plants coming along. What we have here is Miracle-Gro potting soil. We have Scott's potting soil. We have Miracle-Gro Organic Choice. And then we have some compost from Baker's Green Acres in Marion, Michigan. Over here we have the same setup. We've got the same 4 ingredients. But what we did, I included 50% approximately biochar into each one of these mixes. And what we're going to do is watch the growth of these tomato plants. Yes, next I actually do have to plant the seeds now and then I'll be done. We'll watch the growth of these plants, and we'll go ahead and transplant them as they get larger over into larger pots over in the greenhouse, and then again outside later on. What I do suspect is early on you will not probably see an appreciable difference between the first batch and the second batch of biochar. The reason why I say that is This side with the Miracle Grow and the Scott's Potting Soil, these are charged with fertilizers that's actually going to make the plants spring up to life probably just as vigorously, if not possibly even more, than these samples over here with biochar in them. Later on though, as we transplant them to the larger pots and then eventually outside, what we're going to see over time is the tomato plants that has been planted with biochar will see an appreciable growth and vigor to the plant, and the tomatoes will grow larger and healthier, and you'll see a very large difference. The major point we want to make with this, biochar, all natural, you mix biochar with compost and plant that out in your garden. You're not dealing with fertilizers. You're not dealing with anything that's unnatural, first and foremost. But secondly, what you're looking at by implementing biochar in your garden or out on your farm, you will have an all-natural way of having incredible natural growth that fertilizer cannot keep up with. And as a result, you will have a production of plants that will give you all natural food that's much better quality and much larger than what you get with fertilizers. And again, with fertilizers going up in price as the petroleum costs keep going up, you'll see that clearly with the cost of biochar involved in your garden is actually a win-win financially for you as well. So it's a great win-win deal. Better deal financially and a better deal organically, and better for Mother Earth and better for the recipients. We'll see how things go.